Italy is the heartland of style, passion, innovation, and creativity, and of course, many a gastronomical delight and superb delicatessens, not to mention the infinite variety of wines that take you with each and every sip down dreamy Tuscan and Sicilian vineyards, sun-kissed lands in dreamy locations. Wander the streets here and you're immersed in art, in culture, fashion, music, and of course the endless series of culinary delights that make the heart soar and the taste buds dream. Italians, of course, can lay claim to some of the most unique culinary products, like Parma ham and delicacy cheeses, truffles and all forms of cured meats. Of course, there's also the entire Italian wine universe to explore and enjoy as well, ranging from varieties of dense, rich reds through to savoury rosés and the dry, classic white vintages. Of course, not missing out Proseccos that accompany any moment in time. Italy is also renowned for its icy treat, the gelato, the artisan cousin of the more industrialized ice cream that boasts 1/3 of the comparative fat levels. It's also abundantly rich in fresh fruits and biological products. Here in Italy, the gelato is a snack, a dessert, a refreshing cooler for the summer months. In gastronomically sophisticated circles, it's even been transformed into a specialty aperitif, a starter, and a salad. The imagination has no limit when it comes to a gelato. So important is the gelato to Italianness as it's known today that top-end gelato machine maker Carpigiani has dedicated an entire museum to the history and to the traditions of this unique frozen delicacy, tracing back its roots from historic times to its current-day metamorphosis. The company has in fact invested some £1.2 million into sourcing and restoring the most unique gelato-making machines and elements, and has opened the over 1,000 square metre museum to the public for free.
Gelato has a very long history, but we can say that the first milk-based gelato was created in the second half of the 17th century in Italy, and specifically in Florence, where we have the first written account of candiero, which was the very old Italian name that stood for gelato. And compared to the flavors of today, that would have been crema flavor, so milk and egg-based gelato with also a touch of sweet wine.
The Gelato Museum is located in the heartland of gastronomic Italy in the town of Anzola Emilia, close to Bologna. Here, visitors can view thousands of documents, photographs and historic gelato-making machines, including the first primitive hand-operated gelato churns made of iron and wood. The museum courses the delicacy's development over the centuries. On display also is the first written gelato recipe as well as the first snow wells of antiquity and ice and salt sherbet makers from centuries gone by. The gelato, of course, is not new. It dates as it's known today back to medieval times, though the first references to it are to be found in Arab literature. Machines to make it have existed for many decades now, with some, the first ones, resembling particularly disturbing Spanish Inquisition machinery.
So, here we go. This is not actually a torture machine, as it may look like, but it's a gelato cone machine, as you see. So it's acting as a gelato cones oven, having two separate molds, one in the lower and one in the upper part. And once the worker had been filling in all the lower molds with the liquid mix made of flour, milk, sugar and eggs, then he was closing. You can help me with this. In this way. leaving the cones cooking for maybe 1 minute and a half.
Of course, the Gelato Museum visitors and the Gelato University students take back their knowledge to their countries of origin, as has Gelato University student Vivian Lee, who owns and manages the Vivi Dolci gelateria in Beijing, China. The Gelato Museum is the brainchild of Carpigiani, a company that produces and sells a majority of the world's artisan gelato making machines. Its mission is to make the history and the culture of gelato accessible the world over, and the museum and its adjacent university is helping to do just that. Carpigiani, also known as the Ferrari of gelato makers, today exports around 4/5 of its gelato making machines. As testament to this, its last year's sales levels levelled at around £80 million per annum. The company estimates it holds a share of around 1/3 of the global ice cream making machine market, and the figure rises to more than half when it comes to artisan gelato making machines.
Oh, they must go for growth for sure. If you think that there are 25 or 30,000, depending how we size the shops in Italy, and we don't have the same number all over the world. So it's a market that grows slowly, typically one digit, but sustainably, continuously. So I expect that this trend will continue, because what we have seen that the growth is in so many countries that maybe one country can have a problem, but the growth is very well spread. So I expect a continuous growth. And if the US market will boom, then it will be nice.
Carpigiani, in fact, serves as a barometer of the health of the gelato industry, estimated to be worth over £40 billion worldwide each year. Its sales have in fact been constantly on the rise. Sales grew 11% only last year, in the wake of similarly strong growth over the past 6 years. And Carpigiani has been actively reinvesting some of its profits into promoting the tradition, the lifestyle and the quality of the Italian gelato as an engine for future growth.
I think it's growing especially in Brazil. Argentina, that is a historical market, has been in a very bad situation. But the growth of Brazil, that is more than 20%, is promising.
Brazilian gelato makers are in fact among the many nationalities of visitors that attend the gelato making university and study the history of the frozen treat at the museum in order to take the know-how back home and use it.
The Brazilian gelato market is get bigger now, and we are starting to produce some better gelato. At the past, we only produce what we say sorvete. Is that one you buy at the supermarket? And this is not a really Italian gelato. We are trying to produce now Italian gelato as Italian produced here.
Carpigiani has also been running the Gelato University for years now, offering gelato making courses aimed at educating wannabe gelato makers from around the world. Here, thousands of students from around the world flock to participate in courses that can last from as little as a few days, where the secrets of making the mouth-watering multicolored flavors that are a staple of Italian cuisine are discussed.
We do a fantastic recipe I found in a book. It's a mojito, but mojito sorbet.
During the lessons, budding gelato entrepreneurs, aficionados, and established producers gather here from around the world, attentively listening to what expert professors like Alice Vignoli tells them.
So let's start. First of all, we need lemon and lime. We choose the program sorbetto. I decide to let the mint inside because I would like a kind of exotic final gelato.
Of course, the rise of the gelato also seems to be helped by the fact that it seems to be a recession-beating industry and one with a very strong feel-good factor. Much so that thousands of visitors flock to the annual CIGEP event, the international exhibition for the artisan production of gelato, pastry and bakery that takes place in the Italian coastal town of Rimini each year. Here, traditional tastes and flavors mix with visitors from all over the world as experts in the field of gelato show off their creations and exhibit the best of Italian taste. Each year, new flavors are unveiled, including ones that draw inspiration from music, color, culture, and of course other gastronomic traditions.
The ice cream on top. Yes, perfect. Then we put inside the close with the cage, chocolate cage.
Oh, perfect. Okay. We have to open a little bit more, but okay. It can be worked, yes. Perfect.
Okay, like
Sì, numeri importantissimi, 1250 aziende e operatori che vengono da tutti i paesi del mondo, da 5 continenti, ben 180 paesi rappresentati tra i nostri visitatori che vengono qui a Rimini, negli stand, a contattare le aziende, a incontrarsi, a fare affari, a comunicare, a capire la nostra italianità e quindi anche il gusto italiano del dolce. Assolutamente sì, se pensiamo che in 5 giorni assistiamo alle presenze di più di 200.000 operatori che fanno affari, si incontrano, questi sono numeri importantissimi e negli ultimi anni questi numeri sono cresciuti.
A new bezodoble flavor this year was unveiled by gelato maker Mech 3, inspired by the Argentine tango and a passion for chocolate. And that's not it in terms of innovative releases. Mech 3 also launched an icy version of the traditional Italian caprese salad, which normally is made up of fresh buffalo mozzarellas, tomatoes, olive oil, and a scattering of freshly picked basil leaves.
Definitely the most innovative flavor is caprese. Caprese is known all over the world as Italian salad with mozzarella and tomatoes. A new ricotta enriched with our special line of fruity riposomes, variegato.
Ongoing innovation in the field of gelato making brings with it a range of unique products and appealing new recipes and presentations to try out. Amongst the classics that are reinterpreted year in, year out, with a different twist or a different style, are fresh Italian pastries filled with gelatos of all flavors. Garnishings can vary according to taste, from chocolate to nuts to whipped cream. But the end result is always a tasty, refreshing and sweet delight. More than anything, they come laden with a very heavy dose of passion and love for what the gelato chef is making.
L'ingrediente più importante per il gelato è sicuramente l'amore, perché senza l'amore per questo mestiere non possiamo fare il gelato. Abbiamo bisogno comunque delle ottime materie prime, come buon latte, buona panna, zucchero e ottima frutta. D'altra parte abbiamo anche bisogno di una ottima tecnologia per poter trasformare queste ottime materie in buonissimo gelato, che poi va venduto, per cui abbiamo anche bisogno di curare particolarmente il nostro business e la nostra vendita del gelato. Il tutto sicuramente condito con sempre il nostro amore per il gelato.
Today, the gelato making industry counts approximately 25,000 gelaterie, of which more than 7,000 are located outside of Italy. The product is becoming increasingly alluring for the US, for the Middle East, and in Asia. On the general market, new products are constantly being launched, including one that uses natural food-based essences to spray over a gelato and give it that extra delightful flavor to entice the palate.
Yeah, we are finding in the UK that gelato is of very high interest at the moment. The cold weather is a bit of a perception because gelato is not as seasonal as people think. Just to give you some facts, there is more gelato eaten per head in the Scandinavian countries, which are colder, than there is in the UK.
Of course, the artisan gelato industry, like the food industry in general, is in constant development, with technological and product innovations being absorbed into the production process every day. The Food Innovation Institute, based in Bologna, in fact, is monitoring these developments and holds courses teaching how technology and gastronomy can be best woven together into a healthy tapestry of foodstuffs. All the whilst its experts keep a careful and vigilant eye on the sector.
Then we have a non-profit side that is the Future Food Institute, and within the Future Food Institute we invest in empowering a new generation of food entrepreneurs that are always responsible for choices that can impact on our health and on the health of the planet. So we really think that empowering a new generation of food entrepreneurs, we can do something good for our broader community, let's say. For example, we see a lot of innovative startups inventing new foods. If we are talking about new foods, we can think about crickets and cricket flour. If we are talking about new food, maybe we can think about algae. We see algae ice cream, algae bars. We see new ice cream that are not done with milk, as we usually are eating, but we are thinking about ice cream made with avocado or coconut milk. So substitute of milks that are creating new tasty gelatos. In production and manufacturing, for example, we are seeing a lot of innovative startups in the sector of 3D printer. Obviously, you can imagine makers in a fab lab hacking products, creating new little sculpture with 3D printer. Yes, and we can apply the same also to food. We did that a lot in our Officina, that is our makerspace and fab lab. We did it with chocolate, we did it with balsamic vinegar, using agar-agar to densify the balsamic vinegar and making a sculpture. But we did a lot of tests also with gelato, because gelato is really a funny thing, very playful. Is also very, very difficult because it melts very fast. But for sure, if we think about like as I was saying, chocolate or balsamic vinegar, there are a lot of nice sculpture and very tasty dish that come out of it. Gelato was born in Italy, yes, but now we can see that is a very important global food icon. Now we are traveling all around the world with our research within the Food Innovation Global Mission, and gelato, as well as coffee, as well as pizza, is one of the food icons that we are studying.
But going back to the basics, a good gelato need only be simple, sweet and cool. For those that want to make a deliciously sweet and frozen yet healthy snack in their kitchens, there is a shortcut that takes some 7 minutes and doesn't require a Carpigiani machine. According to follow a recipe devised by Alice, professor at the Gelato University, you can make a tasty one at home using standard kitchen utensils. The result is a delightful frozen treat guaranteed to put a smile on the face of anyone who tastes it.